The 1920s, often referred to as the Roaring Twenties, was a transformative era in American history characterized by economic prosperity, cultural dynamism, and social change. Michigan, known for its industrial might and diverse population, played a pivotal role in shaping the narrative of this vibrant decade. From the bustling streets of Detroit to the tranquil shores of the Great Lakes, Michigan's setting in the 1920s was a microcosm of the nation's evolving landscape. In this article, we embark on a journey through time to explore the multifaceted setting of Michigan during the Roaring Twenties. The 1920s marked a period of unparalleled economic expansion in the United States, and Michigan was at the forefront of this prosperity. Fueled by the burgeoning automotive industry, Detroit emerged as the epicenter of innovation and manufacturing. Companies like Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler revolutionized transportation, making automobiles more accessible to the masses. The assembly line, perfected by Henry Ford, transformed Detroit into the Motor City, attracting workers from across the country in search of employment opportunities. The influx of laborers led to the rapid urbanization of Detroit, with skyscrapers piercing the skyline and neighborhoods buzzing with activity. Alongside its economic boom, Michigan experienced a cultural renaissance that reverberated throughout the nation. Jazz, the quintessential sound of the Roaring Twenties, found a home in the vibrant nightlife of Detroit. From speakeasies to jazz clubs, musicians like Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong electrified audiences with their improvisational brilliance. The rhythm of jazz echoed through the streets, capturing the spirit of rebellion and liberation that defined the era. In addition to music, Michigan became a hub for literature, art, and theater. The Harlem Renaissance, a cultural movement celebrating African American identity and creativity, resonated in cities like Detroit and Ann Arbor, fostering a rich tapestry of expression and diversity. Despite the cultural effervescence, the 1920s was also marked by the shadow of Prohibition. The nationwide ban on the sale and consumption of alcohol gave rise to a clandestine underworld of bootleggers, speakeasies, and organized crime. Michigan, with its proximity to Canada and extensive waterways, became a hotspot for smuggling operations. The Detroit River, known as the River of Whiskey, facilitated the illicit transportation of alcohol into the United States, fueling a lucrative black market economy. Gangsters like Al Capone and the Purple Gang operated with impunity, challenging law enforcement and redefining the social fabric of cities like Detroit. Beneath the glitz and glamour of the 1920s, Michigan grappled with social inequalities and labor unrest. The rapid industrialization and migration of workers strained urban infrastructure and exacerbated racial tensions. Discriminatory housing practices, segregation, and unequal access to employment opportunities marginalized communities of color, particularly African Americans and immigrants. The Great Migration, which saw millions of African Americans relocate from the South to northern cities, brought both cultural enrichment and social upheaval to Michigan. Labor strikes, such as the Flint sit-down strike of 1936–37, highlighted the plight of workers and the growing discontent with industrial capitalism. The 1920s witnessed remarkable advancements in technology and infrastructure, reshaping the urban landscape of Michigan. Alongside the automotive industry, innovations in radio broadcasting, aviation, and telecommunications transformed daily life and connectivity. Detroit's skyline was adorned with architectural marvels like the Guardian Building and the Fisher Building, reflecting the city's aspirations for modernity and progress. The proliferation of consumer goods, from radios to refrigerators, fueled consumer culture and reshaped domestic life. Meanwhile, the construction of highways and bridges facilitated mobility and trade, further cementing Michigan's position as a key transportation hub. The setting of Michigan in the 1920s encapsulates the dynamic interplay of economic prosperity, cultural vitality, and social upheaval that define the Roaring Twenties. From the bustling streets of Detroit to the tranquil shores of the Great Lakes, Michigan's landscape served as a canvas for the aspirations and contradictions of the era. As we reflect on this transformative decade, we are reminded of the enduring legacy of innovation, resilience, and creativity that continues to shape the fabric of Michigan and the nation as a whole.